Hey, it's me. Ooh, he told me. The guys with the five eyes that you see. Ooh, I did my little Biggie thing, I was like, ah, ah. But either way, today we're going to be talking about um women self-simping and how Megan the Stallion, Cardi B, and Planned Parenthood, well, basically have a play in that. Planned Parenthood not necessarily. Actually, yes. Yes, they do. What am I talking about? Okay. I'm already kind of starting off kind of corny. I actually recorded another video, but I was talking for so long without getting to the video. I know half of you guys are perverts, so you guys want to see these girls shaking some booty. But anyways, Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B, a couple days ago, did a performance on the Grammys. And the weird thing about it is that the Grammys is normally noted for being like a family-friendly or audience show, because it's basically the highest achievement that most musicians can get from their peers. So it's a really national and really global kind of event. And they usually try to keep things PG-13 at most, because they're trying. Oh, this is big publication for a lot of artists and a lot of studios and stuff. There's a lot riding on the line with these kind of things. There are superstars that get made off of this event, and generally they try to have a wide audience as possible. But the thing about this performance is the insane raunchiness of it, and how it's really highlighting kind of like a weird point in time in our history and as Americans or whatever. So anyways, I'm gonna show you here right now this video. We're gonna see a little bit of it. Of course it's on mute, and what's funny, listen, I can literally click to a random part in this shit and you already seeing her lift her leg up like a peeing dog, sticking her tongue out. You saw in the other screenshot that Megan had her tongue out. Going here, yeah, she busting it down. Oh, look, spread eagle. She on a bed doing something. Oh, yep, it looks like they're about to scissor each other. You see wet, and it's just really weird. But let's play some of this. And the thing I'm noticing about her body, she is really out of shape. You know what? That's kind of funny. You remember when like pop women, they had to maintain like a fit image? Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Janet Jackson, man, Toni Braxton was even, shoot, Lauryn Hill for a while was even pretty fit. Because she's a rapper too. Yeah, if we talk about rappers, Erykah Badu, she's always been fit. And let's keep going. I heard the Brat actually had a nice body. Queen Latifah, she was big, but back when she started, she was just it more so fit her image, because she was more of the macho kind of girl. I mean, she is a lesbian, so she fit that kind of butch profile in the first place. Yeah, but if you just look at her, I mean, that's the thing about her. She's like highly sexual. Oh my goodness. Oh, did you see that booty? Hold on a second. Oh boy. See, and ladies, listen. Do not be trying to get a big butt if you're not trying to like. Don't try to get a big butt. Okay, make it fill it out a little bit. You can fill it out a little bit. Do not go for huge, because unless you like 5'10", 5'9", 6 foot, that big butt is not going to look right on you, man. And when you gain more weight, it's a crazy thing. You gain more weight, your stomach makes you look unproportional. And if you're really skinny, you still look unproportional. It really does not work. Oh my goodness. Just look at that crease sag right there. And it's just, oh God. Okay, but this is pretty mild. Her suit is pretty excessive. It ain't the worst thing, but well, look at her big. And Megan, and see, that's what I'm saying. Megan is much bigger. That looks better on her, but look at hers. Straight natural. It's something that Cardi wishes she had. But this is just, this is getting regular. She's just popping it open. We see that all the time. But where the performance gets like, and just look at the way they're just like spreading their legs. And God, man, this song is really, the way they're pushing this song is kind of, it's kind of freaking me out, because like it's so hypersexual, and the only people who really like this song are girls. Like dudes do not like this song. Oh my goodness, just all this leg spreading, just just and let's just get to the part that had people really kind of like, what's going on with this? And you can't tell me these girls. Jesus, I know I'm overreacting. I'm trying to sell it, but it's just like how like. And see, people wouldn't have as much of an issue with this if it wasn't so excessive. But like, dog, like this is weird because if you're watching this with your kids, it's like you can't say the F word, but you can basically, but it's okay for these like grown ass women to basically literally shove their ass at your kids in the TV. That's okay. Like she's not even a good dancer, man. Like the only thing she literally knows how to do is do sex moves and do the freaking thing that one dude in the WWE was doing. Look at her thinking she hot shit. Look at that body. She not even what she used to look like. It's crazy. But yeah, there's that. And we go here to Planned Parenthood. Just look at this statement. Shout out to the iconic black women using the power of pleasure as a form of resistance. Now, I had no idea what that means. Like, and it was a white person that wrote this thinking like they can use this talking point to be like, yeah, women controlling their sexuality. But this almost looks like this is saying like reverse rape. I'm saying because this is weird, like using the power of pleasure as a form of resistance. Resistance denotes a struggle, and pleasure denotes the lack of thereof. So it's like, how do you resist with pleasure? Like, if anything, pleasure is something you resist. Like, and here, join us as we discuss how the energy of Grammy Award winning, whatever her name is, and other black women's music is shifting the culture, influencing conversations around sexuality and body autonomy. See, the issue with that is you guys are not black. You guys are not ran by black women, and you guys don't influence black women other than to make them go to abortion clinics. Look at them here saying black feminine sexuality is... You have no idea what black sexuality is because you guys are part of the reason why it's so destructive as is right now. And let me just give you a little, like, a couple just words on Black Parenthood, yes, but Planned Parenthood and birth control and stuff. White women, they're like 60s 70s feminism basically advocated for women to have more autonomy over their bodies when it came to sex and having babies, and this led to big advancements in the birth control. The difference between white women and black women is white women mainly were using birth controls to prevent pregnancies so that they can go out and be more sexually free. Black women were using birth control mostly to end their pregnancies, because the thing is, I'm gonna tell it. When it came to Planned Parenthood, the abortions going on in the black community exceeds that of the white community. Like, basically they would go into all these black neighborhoods, poor black neighborhoods, what have you, and basically have abortions on the house. And they will run this like clockwork through our communities to the point where, the estimates from the amount of black abortions that have happened over the past 40 years can be anywhere from like 8 to 10, 12, 15 million. I think I saw somebody that like threw a number of 20 million out there. But either way, basically the amount of black babies killed exceeds the amount it likely is, and I don't know for sure because it's hard to find like a concrete number, and these are all estimates. But basically, Planned Parenthood is at the forefront of one of the biggest genocides that the world has ever seen through the black community, because they have literally functioned as a hub of black abortion. And I am not against abortion because I understand some people cannot raise their children. But see, the biggest thing that becomes an issue for black people and women with abortion is like, check this. The white women make sure they don't even get pregnant in the first place because when they want to get pregnant and raise children, but they also want to have sex. So the best way for them to do it is to use things like the pill and IUDs and the shot and everything. And black women are now just getting onto this because, well, my first girlfriend had the shot and my wife now had the shot, you know. But back then, white women were doing that more. They weren't necessarily going to get abortions as often because, for one, even if they get pregnant, they still have better. And even if they get shamed, ridiculed by their family, they still have better prospects for raising their children because they make more than black women and they come from tighter family groups than black women, especially in the 70s, 80s, because at this point, the black family was destroyed at this point. So raising a child as a single white mother, you have better prospects than being a single black mother. And the thing with black women is that they will get abortions, but they will end up having more kids still. Because that's one of the biggest issues in the black community is the rampant amount of single motherhood that we have. Because, as I've explained in previous videos, it's very cyclical. You have, let's start off with the mother and father. The father really doesn't care to be a father, and he doesn't care about much else. So he gets her pregnant, and it's just like whatever to him. The mother raises the kids by themselves. The boy in her family does not really. The mother is always so busy and stressed out with all this other stuff, and she really hasn't been taught completely how to be a mother herself. She kind of just half-asses the job, and whenever she gets stressed, she just beats him. This boy doesn't learn about what being a man is like from his dad, and he probably learns it in a wrong kind of context from other boys and men that were in his similar situation. He kind of grows up not caring about anything because all he really knows is his block, and he lacks the imagination to try to innovate for himself. Finds a girl, does the same thing. So even with all these abortions, and I think this is what the white supremacy complex did not expect from black people, because if I look somewhere, not on this page, if I look somewhere here, someone uploaded these quotes from Richard Nixon. And this right here, if you could read, a majority of the people in Colorado voted for abortion. I think a majority of people in Michigan are for abortion, and in both cases, certainly in Michigan, will vote for it because they think that what's going to be aborted generally are the little black bastards. As I told you, we talked about it earlier, that a hell of a lot of people want to control the Negro bastards. You know what we're talking about, population control. And look, the people in what we call our class control their population. Sometimes they'll have families 6 or 7, 8 or 9, but it's an exception. I don't know what that means. But essentially, under this white supremacy, that's the easiest thing to call it, tried to control the black population through Planned Parenthood. What they thought was all these women were going to get these abortions, kill these kids, and they thought that would effectively decrease the numbers for black people. But really, all it did is just keep our numbers from growing. It didn't decrease our numbers, because if you look at the black population statistics, it's been really relatively the same through the past couple of decades, because mainly of Planned Parenthood and abortion, and also mainly because of our incarceration rates and our murder rates. They were so desperate to destroy the black family, instituting welfare, Planned Parenthood, and drugs and crime into our communities, that what they ended up doing is, it's like I've said in previous videos, a black man will die and end up having like 3 kids in the hood and stuff. Like, someone at my job just died recently over some BS, right? A dice game and a dude shot him. He has a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these dudes in these bad situations in the hood, a lot of them have kids. Why? It's usually never on purpose. And the way I know that is because when people describe these black guys, it's my baby mama, her baby daddy. A lot of the dudes I work with at work, they got baby mothers. And at the very least, these dudes is trying to raise their kids. But at the same time, though, it just goes to show how prevalent this is in our community. Like, most of the people you meet in the black community with kids are generally not actually in relationships with the people they had kids with, you know? And I don't think they saw that coming. So, in a way, they did control our population because they kept it stagnant, but they didn't decrease our populations because they didn't understand just how sexually irresponsible we had gotten. And that's kind of why we're in the position that we are in today. And it's like a half and half. It's almost fortunate because it's like, if we weren't so ignorant, it'll probably be less black people out there today. But at the same time, though, if we learned our lessons about our behavior, yeah, maybe there'll be less black people, but will we be in a better financial position? That's some really hard stuff to think about. And now to get to the point, because it's around the 15-minute mark, to get to the point of how women are simping over themselves. And that's the big thing I really wanted to talk about for the last part of this video. Women are... They do not understand that if you had the freedom to choose your sexual partners and the freedom to do whatever you want with your body and your pregnancy, you're sexually autonomous. You're already free. The thing that's driving a lot of people crazy about like these media outlets and a lot of this feminist rhetoric is that these women, which I mind you are a minority of women, surprisingly, are very vocal and adamant about like women having this like sexual freedom and to not be like shamed for what they do and stuff. The thing they don't understand is that you guys have been allowed to do this for like 5 decades at this point, and the shame really stopped after the 70s. By the time it was the 80s and 90s, the shame was starting to like really die down. And once it hit the 2000s, no one really cared anymore. You had Sex in the City basically letting you know what it was with a lot of single women, and I don't understand. No one really gets why they're so vocal about it still. Because it's like, dude, you guys get to have sex with whoever you want. Nobody can tell you what to do. Anybody that tries to restrict you, it's really illegal now because it's infringing upon your rights. So it's like, what is there left? Like, what are you guys trying to get at? What's the point? What are you guys doing? And black women have to be careful of this because these women are self-simping. They're so enamored with controlling their sexuality that they let these media outlets like Planned Parenthood basically be the voice for them. And for black women, you're facing a very dangerous proposition because you need to understand how many times do these big white conglomerates have to show you they will use you for money. They will use you for your support and they will end you. They do not care. We go through this all the time because black people are in such a position of powerlessness that we are desperate for anything, anyone to put us on a pedestal. And that's never going to happen because you are black. Okay? You know what there needs to be? A Planned Parenthood kind of organization ran by black people that is not all about diminishing our numbers and giving us abortions. Instead, giving us an education about sexual irresponsibility and what that can lead to. Because think about it. People do not... Getting an abortion is horrible. It is horrible, dude. It is horrible. I used to think I'd like to have an abortion, but the more I think about it, it kills me in my head because it's the possibilities of what I can do with a son or a daughter is immense. And to think that I stopped the future, I stopped something like that from happening just because I wasn't ready to take responsibility and I was scared, it hurts me. I don't want to have that happen. I've grown up past that. And when women get abortions, more often than not, it's not a very nice situation afterwards. In a lot of instances, they can end up really depressed. I've known some women that have had abortions. None of them have been happy with it because most of the times it's when they're in a bad situation anyway to make it hard to raise the kid, or it's when they didn't really like love or have a real loving relationship with their partner. So most abortions are born out of sad situations, sad negative feelings and emotions. They're hardly ever something anyone looks forward to. Really, no one looks forward to an abortion because no one looks forward to unwanted pregnancies. It's all a negative. It's negative, and Planned Parenthood is being really disingenuous because using pleasure as a form of resistance. You know what I just thought about talking right now in this 20th minute? Now I understand what they say. Pleasure as a form of resistance, getting pregnant and then aborting your child as a form of a resistance to the status quo of the societally accepted norm of having a family. I just got it. See how sneaky they are? See how sneaky they are? Think about it. Pleasure as a form of resistance. What's pleasure? Sex. What's resistance? To be against something, against another power encroaching upon you. So, sex being against power. Using sex as a form against the patriarchy, the thing that a lot of women keep saying is controlling them or trying to control them. Which it should, because patriarchies are how humans naturally work. So what's the best way to do that? Destroy the children, destroy the families. Oh. Hey, that's just what I think, you know? And women are simping hard over themselves because they're trying to clap each other on the back for all these kind of actions. And what has it led to? We've got women consuming more alcohol and drugs. You've got higher rates of depression. If you think about the way a lot of these women that talk about these things, I haven't met a woman that's like a feminist that is not like in a constant state of chaos because like there's so many issues that will never get resolved for them because of the way most regular women and most regular men think. They will never really think in favor of a lot of feminist ideals because for the most part most men and women want to be with each other. Most women want to be up under a man that leads them, and most men want to lead a woman that is loyal to them and, if we being quite frank, isn't that sexually promiscuous. Not to say they don't want her to be, a virgin, because, that's often not that fun. But at the same time, most men don't want a woman that's so sexually liberated. And, there's a lot of reports and studies that show that the more sex partners a woman has, it decreases their rates of marriage. It's harder for them to form pair bonds with a partner. They tend to also have higher rates of depression and everything like that. They're basically really self-destructive. But that's why they're simping though. They're simping because think about how a simp tries to get with a woman. He says a lot of desperate things and commits a lot of desperate actions, like always getting her food, taking her out, calling her names, telling her this and that, in the expectation that something good will happen. But it's insanity. This is what these women are doing. They're trying to be like, women go have sex, women go be free, women do this, women do that. The patriarchy sucks. We need a matriarchy. Men need to stop doing this and that, right? But it's insanity because women already are as free as they're ever going to be at this point. There's nothing for you to really say. Well, all they want is like social acceptance, but you will not truly get that social acceptance. That's why these big media outlets, they're trying to do this for control because they don't make money off of this stuff. This stuff does not make money. Literally, this performance in the Grammys, this is one of the lowest rated Grammys on television. I know a lot of people say people stream the Grammys, but you also got to think about it like this too, that most people still have, a lot of people have Sling, a lot of people still have cable. This is basic cable too, and that basically means that an older audience, which is their more traditional audience, would probably end up watching this. People are not watching the Grammys anymore. People, man, think about newspaper editorials all over, syndicate networks. Tim Pool would let you know off the rip that a lot of those networks are doing bad and nobody's like watching them the way they used to. The media is in a desperate position to run their agendas because they want control of people because they know that they can't control their they don't have control of people now, and they can't control their money. Um, and they're scared, and they're blinded by social media just as much as these women, because a lot of these women that speak that are for Cardi and for Megan generally exist in Twitter rabbit holes, and Instagram. But the average woman is really not focused on Instagram or Twitter like that. And even less so Twitter than Instagram. But Twitter probably the least out of all of them. Because if you always look at, let's say, a celebrity's profile, they usually generally have more Instagram followers than they do Twitter followers, and they, more Facebook likes than that. Twitter has been burning money for a while. Twitter is not a space where the average woman or average man is, and a lot of times people have heavy personas on Twitter. Twitter is mostly a place for people to complain and to retweet memes, But these ladies are simping. This is self-simping, and we're on the 26th minute. I'm trying to probably get this to 30, so I'll make my final point on this simpage from women that is just going to destroy them. The same way simps are, for like the men simps are. They don't really get the girl. They end up getting used, and they feel worse at the end. This is the same thing you women are doing for this feminist agenda. You're not going to get what you want. You already have what you need to be, like, you have everything you could possibly want. You're an American. You don't live in the Middle East. You don't live in Africa. And shoot, you don't, in many parts of Latin America, you don't live in any of these places where men have way more control over their women, and they can do way worse things to you and get away with it. Man, dude, like in Middle Eastern countries, a lot of them, even if you're a woman that is not from there, you have to cover up everything. There's still arranged marriages. You don't control who you get married to and everything like that, And and a lot of people will argue this is one of the reasons why this kind of behavior, because even when these women have all their options and they're able to do what they want, they're still complaining. You women kind of give people a reason to understand why a lot of those Middle Eastern people do that kind of stuff. Because even when you have the sexual freedom, you still act like it. Why? Because you can't just handle being able to do it. You need people to validate you, and you want people to constantly say what you want to do is good and what you want to do is right. But the thing is, the average human is not going for that. The average man would like to smash you, but he won't like to claim you. The average woman would like to get the attention she can get from you and, seem like she's for that, but in private, she's still going to go get her man, and she's still going to try to go get married and have a family and stuff. And because of your actions, it's a lot less people actually having sex. Because the way that when women get into this fervor of sexual activity, and this is one of the few things I would agree with the quote-unquote manosphere or red pill on, is that when a lot of these women, when you get sexually active like this, you end up reverting yourself to a primitive phase of sexual activity. You end up just only really smashing the dudes that are going out their way to smash you. Most men, when they have sex with women, it's usually not like, oh man, hey, can I have sex with you? DM, what's up, shawty? Come to the crib. It's usually they meet a girl and they're kind of just like, I'm gonna just talk to her. And they talk and they have sex and they date and stuff like that. The average body count for a man is 5 partners. I've got 5 partners. That's kind of how it was. And if I didn't go to college, I'd probably only have like 2 or 3. And I wouldn't have as many experiences as I had. But see, that's what happens when you go to college. It just blows up. If you really try, if you press a girl, you'll get it. But in the end, that's the only kinds of guys they end up getting. And what they end up doing is they end up making the 80-20 rule, actually, I wouldn't say exactly happen, but and they end up getting into that territory where they're just literally screwing the same kind of guys over and over and over and over again, and they make no progress. And that's why a lot of them end up single, and that's why a lot of men also don't end up dating them. And when they don't end up dating them, then they don't end up having sex, and that's why we have lower birth rates and everything like that. It's insanity. So women, black women, simping for yourselves is not going to work. Okay, you don't get anything. You don't get anything out of trying to be all vocal about your sexuality and everything like that. Because you just gotta accept the fact that the average man does not want a hoe for a housewife. Okay, and you don't have to be a hoe. But if you want to be a hoe, you can. Because guess what? It's never been more profitable to be a real downright a good old hoe in any time in human history. If you actually about it. If you gonna be lazy and half-assed it, then you're gonna be like a lot of girls on OnlyFans not making no money. Alright? So, I mean, it's really your choice what you want to do with these kind of things. But in the end, you gotta understand things for what they are. These white media outlets are trying to control you. And they want your money. And they want your attention. Because they're desperate for it. Because a lot of these places don't have money. Because guess what? A lot of people don't have money anymore. So they're not getting paid. Black women, you actually are at an advantage. Because a lot of these media outlets do not have the kind of cash and influence that they have. That's why they're so desperate over the internet to try to get you under their control. Because if they do, then they can extend their lifespans. If you guys ignore these people and you stay away from these corporations and keep your minds focused on families, or if you don't want families, then keeping your body as safe as you can, then eventually these guys are going to turn into dinosaurs. And that gives us more space for our outlets. But if you follow what they say, you really want to follow what they say, then if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you always got. And that's what I've got to say about this whole thing. Anyways, here's a little bit more of Cardi B looking like a potato head. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Let's replay it again. Actually, you know what? Did I just see Dua Lipa? Who is that? Let's look really quick. I know we're at the end, but let's look at her performance. Let's look at how they display other races of women versus black women. Look at Dua Lipa. I don't know who this is, but she's a Latino girl. Now look at her set. Look at her set. It's sensual. It's poppy. It has a feel to it. I don't know. Is that the baby? Well, whatever. Now look at this though. Look how they have on skirts. They may be short, but you can't hardly see no booty. You almost kind of saw a cheek from under her dress right there. But first of all, you're saying this is Chronicles of Judah. He'd already pointed you out. That's Saturn right there. The black one or whatever they call them. That's the eclipse. Or you can call it I don't think you can call it an obelisk because I don't think that's quite like their kind of shape. But you can see, she's being anointed. She's being exalted. And then, in the light, the darkness covers the sun. I don't know. That's a loop or that's a rabbit hole I won't go under. But look at how normal her set looks. Look at it. It's just, she's kind of sexy, but at the same time, and I guess she took her whatever off. And, that's sexy too. But look at this. I mean, that's basic sexy. Those look like granny panties, honestly. That's the difference in how they display our women versus their women. And this is kind of sexy, but this is something you could show on. This could be something that children could see and be like, okay. I mean, you probably might turn it off, but I mean, if you go to the beach, you see women like this. So, anyways, okay, now I'm done. Hope you guys enjoy your day. I think I'm going to upload 2 videos today. Talking about VV and NFTs and stuff, getting a bit more normal. But hopefully Megan Thee Stallion gets into some more drama so I have something to talk about. Because, man, she just does it herself, doesn't she?